Do you have what it takes to be a property manager? This is a very demanding role and a thankless role. Tenants expect for a good service. They're paying for a service and they expect things to be well maintained, operational, and safe and secure all the time. It's not just a glamorous thing. Everyone pictures a property manager just showing units, and that's glamorous, isn't it? Just showing up dressed nice and then showing people around an apartment, deal with a lease, and everybody lives happily ever after.
And they lived happily ever after.
But things happen. There are emergencies come up, and then you need to deal with that. And we all know emergencies come at the time when you're not ready for an emergency. You could be right in the middle of showing someone an apartment, and then you get a call that maybe there's a flood, a fire, or fire alarm going off, or anything like that. So you definitely need to be able to manage your time very well. We recently lost our assistant property manager, and so we've been advertising for this position to be filled. And we've had lots of applications. Not everyone's been invited for an interview, but we have interviewed a number of people. Some people self-select. They don't even show up for the interview that they said they're going to come for. So that's great. Saves wasting our time or even being considered for a role that they don't even want to show up for. So we put a very good application out there for people to read and see if this job is a fit for them. Because it has to be a fit for them and it has to be a fit for us. We're building a team and growing, so we all need to be able to work together. But it's a very demanding role, so it needs a very unique type of person. You need to be very strong and forceful when you're dealing with evictions, but you also need to have some compassion, when we're dealing with other types of emergencies. Plus, you need to be on top of, contractors as well if any repairs are being done. We've got the handyman, and then keeping ahead of the cleaner, scheduling and organizing the cleaner to do the weekly cleans and also for move in and move outs. And obviously we got people cutting the grass, so you've got to make sure they're on top and getting stuff done correctly as well. And then in winter we have, the snow removal. We can't predict when the snow's coming, and as soon as it does, everybody wants it cleaned that very second. So it can be very demanding. And people will test your patience. They do not request services during the normal 9 to 5. If they have a blocked drain or a slow running drain, they only tell you when they get home from work or the weekends, because they forget during the week when they're going to work. If they're getting ready for work and notice the drain's not going down, they're just still getting ready for work. It's not until they come home and say, oh yeah, I forgot, I should have informed them of this. So we seem to get more calls at the weekend, and we obviously deal with them during the week in normal operations, but it's still a demanding role. So here's a quick list of what we require. It must be strong at organization skills. It must be trustworthy, reliable, and honest. Great problem solving skills, because things come up all the time. The ability to manage time. You've got to schedule a lot of things and other people. Must be able to work as a team, so we want a team building person as well. The ability to cope with stress, because there is a lot of stress. We obviously don't want a stressful environment, but things happen, like we said, emergencies. Obviously, you must have a driving license and a reliable vehicle as well. The ability to be on call for an emergency. This is not a 9 to 5 job. We try and schedule things for that time, but like we say, things happen or you do get messages. And when a tenant's messaging you at 10 o'clock at night to say the outside light's not working, they want to be heard that you've received the message and you're going to take care of it. That's all they want at that time of the night. They don't expect you to get a ladder up or send an electrician out right away for things like that. So you need to have a very semi-flexible schedule. The way we do it is, if you've been out in a different hour, you take an afternoon off or something like that. We don't want someone working full time and then extra time. We believe there's everybody has a family, and we believe there's a balance to life, and we try and accommodate that as well. And obviously, we're hoping we get some previous experience, because it requires a lot less training for us, but it is down to the person and the personality first, and then we will train as well. Even if you've got previous experience, we still do things our way, and we have our procedures. So that's the requirements, but the duty of what's required is an even longer list. You know, you'll be learning our property management software. Maybe other places have a similar software or different, but there's always learning with that. You know, responding to building and tenant emergencies, you know, that's a duty as well. Enforcing policies and procedures and conditions of the residential tenancy board. You know, we have to follow those government guidelines as well. Inspecting vacant units for repairs and making a list, like a checklist, and then having those implemented by, you know, work orders for the handyman or tradesman, cleaner, and things like that, because there's always something that needs a little bit of looking at, but it gives us a good time to review a property as well. Once there's no furniture in there, it can hide a lot of sins. So reviewing and renewing leases with tenants, you know, going over those agreements as well. Collecting security deposits, and also, you know, the first month's rent, and we try and get them on auto deposit or electronic payments if we can, or the mail checks. We try and have that automated after that. We just have far too many units to go knocking on everybody's door on the first of the month. Investigating and resolving tenant complaints. You know, this can be Dorothy, my wife, who does the property management. She says it's a bit like being a kindergarten teacher as well sometimes, because, you know, tenants in the same building, you know, one may be making noise or parking in someone's spot. So, you know, you have to try and get everyone to get along better as well. So managing all the maintenance orders and work orders there, and making sure things are being done. Scheduling work orders between tenants and the maintenance or handyman. You know, sometimes, well, you got to always let the tenant know if you're entering the unit, and sometimes they want to be there as well. We always try and have the tradesman, you know, do a lot of coordination as well, because the tradesman doesn't work for us, you know, they help us, but they have their own business to run and their own schedule, and tenants have their schedule. So it does take a bit of coordination as well to try and get all that together. And then another duty is advertising vacant units, taking all the inquiries, because we get a lot of inquiries, and then giving the applications out and receiving the applications, and then screening the applications before we even get to showing a unit. So there's a lot of work goes in before we even show a unit. And then obviously there is scheduling all these showings as well, because we want to get these as close together as possible, so you're not just stood around all day waiting for someone to come, you know, at different hours. And then standardizing, reviewing, and updating all our operations manuals. We're always trying to be as efficient as possible, and you know, things change, and you know, you learn as you go along, and we're always doing training as well, so we're always trying to improve things. And acting in compliance with the Residential Tenancy Board and the Real Estate Brokers Act. And if we have any hearings to go to with Residential Tenancy Board, you know, we may have to go and do that as well, you know, if you got evictions or things like that. So that's quite a list of duties and requirements and responsibilities that we want. So it's a very unique position for a unique person. So that goes back to my question: do you have what it takes to be a property manager? Is this something you would want to do? Put it in the comments below, and subscribe for more tips.